That looks like it's setting all right. Needs to be a lot lighter in colour before I do anything around them, because that's probably still going to be quite soft. Yeah, if my fingernail can push into that. And that's the thin part that should be able to be dried by now. So I'll leave those. Started getting more of them ready to go. All the ones that are on the trailer I set up on their ends so that it wouldn't bow too much, because a couple of them had a bit of a bow in them. So that way that'll stop them from getting that. But I've just figured out why the quality of them is pretty good, and this is the first time I've ever seen this on sleepers. The ends of them have been sealed in wax. This one was a bit messy because it comes right up on here. I'll sand that off. But they've actually got wax coatings on the ends to stop them from drying out too quick and checking straight up here. Like this one's got a bit of a checking happening. So if I can get these sanded, stained, seal up the ends with the stain as well, that should be pretty good. That's the second lot. That's only the first coat on one side. I've still got to do the underside. And I move the other ones around here so they're ready to go in there, but that's the second coat on that side. They've still got to have a second coat done on the underside. That's as many as I need to do this whole wall. 4 on each section. I just need to, these are almost dry enough to flip over so I can do their first coat on the other side. It bucketed down rain last night. From about 2 a.m. I was being kept awake or being woken up multiple times with my sciatica. Anyway, these had 2 coats except for on this side, so they were up the other way, and they'd luckily dried enough before the rain came. So I've just done a second coat on those. I've oriented these to the side that's going to be up against the soil. That's the first coat of protectorant on those. So what I'm going to do now is go along and undo all of my braces to get all that out of the way, and then I'm going to use the water level just to put a definite mark on the top of all of the posts for the height, because if I go by the string line there might be a little bit of variation, and I want to have a permanent mark on there so that when I'm putting all these up, I'm going to start from the top and then work down. So I've definitely got my top level set, and then I can work down. If I need to dig out the soil a little bit, I can do that. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, about to get this first one on. Got it up to the string line at the end. All my little, see my little black marks. Or I use the water level. You can see them along here. So they're all the same height as that concrete. Got this all held in place so I can drill through from the other side. Or from this side. And level. That's a good feeling. Just going to patrol the bottom fence, I betcha. Got that done last night. So now these ones, looks like we got some more rain last night. So that's washed off a bit. So I'll redo the coats on that before putting them up and go from there. happened again. I'm hoping this is just blowing over. I've got a tarp thrown over the sleepers. That's what just blew over us. Blew for a while now. That's all in. I just got to trim off the tops, flush with the top sleeper. This, I don't know if you can see it, but this got really slippery. I've kind of compacted a little bit into two type of steps because I had 1 foot up here and 1 foot down here to try and keep myself steady while I was drilling these holes as I was doing it. Definitely needs a clean up. And then, hang on, this area is still steep and slippery. The other side, I've just got to backfill. This is the side that's all been treated with the protectorant. And now, I thought I would get to it today, but that rain sort of put a bit of a stopper on it. You can see I've marked out for the post holes that I need for this end section, because this end section will have these ones here going across to the slab, and then all this area is going to get filled to bring it up to level. Not a bad job. Don't want to do it again. Stuff's heavy. I had hoped to start those holes at the end, but then I got stuck on the phone with Telstra because we've had no cell service here since the 18th. Today's the 22nd, and it's apparently issues with the towers. They said it was originally meant to be resolved by the 19th, but it's not, and now they don't have a resolving date for it. So no idea what's going on or when they'll actually get it fixed, but until then everything's going through Wi-Fi, which is just as well, but man, that's annoying. It's getting cold out. It's time to pack up. Yeah, 5:20. I think I stopped out here about 3. I was working with my... Instead of listening to podcast or music, I was listening to the hold music for Telstra for God knows how long, until they finally answered the phone. And then I was on a long call. Anyway. My sciatic's been killing me of late. Straight down my left leg. Feels like I'm being stabbed in the thigh and the hamstring, back of my knee, ankle, all that sort of stuff. And as I was coming out here yesterday to try and get on with that, and because I've got to prep some more sleepers for... Oh, hello, Lucky. I've got to prep the sleepers for that end, as well as digging the holes. And I was coming out here yesterday to do it, and I'm limping like crazy. My wife said, just take a rest for the day. I said, the weather's really good. I should really get out there and not waste the weather. She goes, if you go out there today, you probably won't be able to get out there tomorrow. So I ended up taking a break yesterday. Okay. Say hi, Lucky. Felt a bit better. She put a pain patch on my leg at the top where that seems like the nerve was, most of the nerve pain was. And it felt better later in the day. But later that night, wore off. Like it's been keeping me up at night. Today it was like, wasn't too bad, a bit sore, got up, moved around, wasn't so bad. Then it got really painful, standing still. So I've been trying to get some heat into it and waiting for some pain medication to kick in. Still annoying, but I've really got to get on with this, I think. Got the 3 holes done. So one there, this one there, and the one down towards the corner. You can probably see that there was an awful lot of roots and from bamboo in these ones, and the bottom of them are fairly thick with clay, and that's why there was so much bamboo roots, and that's next door. So managed to chop them through. I ended up sharpening up the front of the shovel with the grinder just so it would chop through stuff, and I used that drill bit a lot more to try and break up the soil, because it's a really thick, hard clay, not the soft clay like I was dealing with before. That's all the soil from it. Now I'll go and I'll have to set my strings back up so I can check the height that I need for each of these posts. Here's my parts for that back wall ready. So I've got, they're the two tallest ones right at the bottom end. I think I've got the short one. I've got a 13, no, there's 1200, which is already around there, which I had as a piece already. These two are two of the posts. I've already got one of the posts over there prepped, so I've got to sand these, stain them, put the protector in it. And I made use of, my wife bought me this blackboard when I was going to be teaching from home for my construction class, so I could be out here doing stuff and writing stuff on the board. I would just write my measurements and cross them off. Saves trying to remember them, because I probably won't. And the saw's working beautifully. Okay, I've just come along, marked out where all of these need to be cut off. So now I'm going to get a handsaw, cut those off. Got my string line set up, some gravel in the bottom of the holes, and I did dig in the right spot, which is good. These ones ready to go. That's a post. That's one of the bottom rails for going from there across where it starts to drop down. And all of these have had one coat of stain just on the top, so they're almost ready to flip over and get a coat on the opposite side. Beautiful day today. I got my appointment with the ENT this afternoon. Took part in the podcast, Shop Talk podcast, Shop Teacher podcast. I can never remember the name, and it was in front of my face all morning. Anyway, one of the disadvantages for me, I guess, of the boys being able to get all the way around the yard is now I've got to do poop patrol all the way down to the back fence, because this is where Sam comes. Just looking up the hill and see the retaining wall up there behind the sheds coming together. I backfill some of the soil, grab some of the rocks from around the block to put on this side of the wall around the base, just to create a little bit more stability so the soil doesn't just wash away from it in heavy rain. Nice sized block, but it's fairly unusable just because of the slope. Now, a bit closer, you can see what I was saying about where I was walking on the dirt. Track marks. Kind of sort of blocked in a bit. Started doing. Got my first post plumbed up along the string line. That was the ones I had already prepped. The other ones are around here. Had to turn off my mate's music first. Been enjoying a little bit of the iPod music while I'm out here rather than having things in my ears. These two are two of the rails. This one's a little bottom rail. These two are the other posts with the protectorant on the ground where they're going to be sunk in. These are pretty much dry. Well, not quite. But I've got to do a second coat on those and then they'll be ready to go. My little setup I've got in here, a radio that I bought that's got a iPod dock on it. So I just put that there and I can have some music inside the shed. And a little netbook that I've had since 2009 still runs. It's running Ubuntu, or no, it's running Lubuntu now, a light version of Ubuntu. Runs fine on there, a little bit slow on some things. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more RAM in it. At the moment it's only 1 gig RAM in it. But it works fine. I'm going to see if I can actually, because it is connected to the Wi-Fi, I'm going to see if I can get YouTube happening down here. So I could have stuff playing while I'm in here as an alternative to listening to podcasts all the time with stuff in my ears. Because after a full day, your ears feel a little bit sore. That's the ENT appointment done. My vocal cords are fine. No swelling, irritation, no nodules. And she did make a point of, she said, your voice sounded all right when you first came in, and then it started to just go down like it is now, so it gets worse over time. And if I thought getting the COVID test up the nose was bad enough, having a camera shoved up your nose so that you can go right back and see your vocal cords. She did like an anesthetic spray up my nose and down into my throat. So she said, it's going to feel a little numb for the next half hour, so no hot liquids. I went, it'll take me longer than that to drive back to the house, so I should be fine. I would have come down here for the echocardiogram and the stress test tomorrow. That's just over here at the hospital. It's kind of a double-edged sword when you get that sort of news. Like I did not want to have nodules because my voice is part of my business, isn't it? Teachers talk. She said, I can give you some good news to an answer that you're concerned about and the doctor was concerned about. You don't have nodules. Your vocal cords are fine, your voice box is fine. But now I don't know what's going on. I guess I'll find out tomorrow when they do the echocardiogram. Is like it's an ultrasound of your heart. Never had one. The ECG said my heart was fine, and the lung CT said the blood was getting there right. So, but the stress test, they said I need to make sure that I wear shoes I could run in because I'm going to be on a treadmill. Oh man, I'm going to be in peak hour traffic. Tomorrow's appointment's bright and early. I've got to be down to the hospital I've got to be in their office by 8:30. And due to COVID, the regular entrance that you would use to get into their offices is closed. So I have to go in a different way to get to those elevators. I passed. They said they haven't seen people go that long for ages. I did the 15-minute test. There was only one stage left to go. And they said I was only supposed to reach 85% of my heart rate, and I went over 100. We know it's not my lungs and my heart, but if you can hear the way I'm talking, I've got a feeling this is, I might be bacterial. Plus my x-ray showed a little bit of calcification spots in there which can be caused by bacterial. They said my heart looked good and all the readings looked fine, and the fact that I went so long, I did start to get really out of breath, but it was more my legs and my sciatic that was stopping me from running further, I think, and the incline. The last 3 minutes were like a 16% incline. I think they said 6 and a bit kilometres an hour. So if I really need to, I could still run somewhere. I think this just makes it more of a mystery now.
Definitely not a good tight turning circle in this thing. Still getting used to parking the thing because it's longer than old Max. With Max the wheels were really like, you were right up the front. It was really easy to see where you were. And so in the last 2 days, vocal cords are fine, no nodules, no nothing like that. My heart looked good to the technician doing the ultrasound. The stress test, they were concerned because like I said, I did get out of breath just walking in because the parking was the complete opposite side of the hospital because of the COVID testing. The section of the hospital where I needed to go was West Block, but the very top floor, and the bottom of West Block, which is closest to the car park I would normally go to, is reserved for COVID. This whole thing is just a mystery. I think for it to, I think if I enunciate a lot better and project my voice, I'm going to be able to talk a lot cleaner. I get out of breath. I don't know. Anyway, it's almost 11 o'clock, so I'll get back to the house, get changed into my work clothes for the yard, get those 2 posts set up and plumb, and see if I can get them all concreted in today. So then they've got to sit for a day or so before I can go attaching the rails anyway, and the rails are all ready to go. But it's a really nice day, sunny, clear sky, so it's a good day to get out in the yard and try and get that stuff finished. Guess I'll ring my doctor on Monday, so they won't have results for a while, they said about a week. So I've got these posts are all set, ready, held in place. I'm gonna go get the mixers set up. And this should only be 3 mixers, because if these ones were all a mix per post, I should only need 3 mixers, so this shouldn't take too long. 3 posts, concreted in. Now I just gotta wait for them to dry because these are all ready and waiting to go.